Hey, there's everybody. Happy 2024. It's a brand new year. How is everyone? I'm glad you have taken time out of your busy schedules to come to Dan's Live. I really appreciate it. Let me bring up the comment section real quick, the chat. Let's see who else here. Anna May is here. How's your day so far? How are the kitties? You have such a cute baby. You have such cute babies. I got Anime here, Jean Zil, Jean Ga. Rider Adventures in the house. Rider Adventure, thanks so much for showing up. How are you? Alien Cruise Official. Crystal's Adventure. It's always an exciting adventure with crystals around. And then it gets kind of boring. Pretty Chismusia. Hey, where have you been? Thanks so much for showing up. I appreciate it. I haven't seen you in a while. Larice, just say, what do you say? Hey, you like the onion ring video, eh? That's nice, but I'm going to talk about that onion ring video in a moment. And Larice, Resurrection, you say, is also here. Thanks of Ali. How are you? Lexia Vlog is here. Charmaine in the house. Charmaine, I was lurking in. I think it was in Mertz's channel last night. I saw you were there. Nick Stead was there. See, I'm just mentioning it just to show you that I get around. You know, I didn't stay for very long because I was watching a movie on YouTube. But I saw that you were in there, so I just wanted to let you know. I pay attention to what's going on a little bit on the YouTube channel. I most certainly do. I pay attention to what's going on. I should have said hey to everybody. But then you know how it goes. You say hello and everybody says hello back. Then it's Happy New Year. Then it's Happy New Year goes on forever and stuff like that. I don't like celebrating any kind of holiday. New Year, what is that? It's a brand new year. Happy 2024, everybody. Tim Deziak is in the house. Tim, how's it going from Angela City? Is it raining there or is it clear? It's a clear, sunny day here in Bye Bye City Late. We're grateful. We're grateful. Journals is here. Journals, how are you? Journals. Marian Solonga, very, very intelligent, deep thinker from my experience communicating with Marian Solonga. And we have God Repairs in the house. Every man repeats a story is here. Well, hello, all my good friends in the chat and Dan. Larry Lee is here. Hey, Larry Lee. Yeah, we're going to talk about a couple things, Larry. The weight thing, the weight thing. I'm not sure it's from cooking or, it's Minnie's cooking or I'm just sitting there. I'm just sitting there watching too much television. I'm watching too much YouTube. It's gotten so interesting the last few months, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. If I could get the words out of my mouth. Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? Yeah, things are changing. Boy, they keep changing. Guaranteed, YouTube is going to become a much tougher environment to make money in coming into 2024. And I'm going to tell you about that in a little while. Prissy Manzanero is here. Hi, Prissy. What a lovely daughter. And what great Jollibee toys you have. Speaking of that, right? Speaking of Jollibee toys, I happen to have one right here. Vintage green belly Jollibee. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Dance Live. Go and get a bucket of chicken. Just give them my name and you'll get 10% off. I wonder if anybody's ever going to do that. I wonder if people have gone in there and say, Dan said that you'll give me 10% off if I mention his name. And they go, Dan who? They'll go, Dan who? Never heard of the guy. Never heard of that loser. Oh, what? What am I missing here? Every man repeats a story. I really was busy, Dan. So many people want to be interviewed that I just can't keep up. They're all flocking to Dumageddon. You have the newbies that are coming in and the old timers are leaving on a daily basis, from what I understand. Yeah, on a daily basis, folks. It's interesting. Don't go. I wouldn't go to Dumageddon or anywhere else in the Philippines on $800 a month. I just wouldn't do it. You're taking too much of a risk that something will happen to you, and you won't be able to get fixed if you get broken in the Philippines. That's the main thing. The main concern, really, for most expats coming into the Philippines is, hey, where do I get treatment if I have a heart attack or a stroke or I get the big C? Well, you kind of go back home if you're able to. You kind of have to get on a big bird, and you have to head back to where you came from. By the way, did anybody see that? Man, that's a miracle of miracles, right? Not for the crew of the Coast Guard plane, but the I guess it was an Airbus 350 Japan Airlines clipped. I'm not sure exactly if it was the Coast Guard plane that clipped the Airbus, Japan Airlines Airbus, or if it was the other way around. But when you have one landing, they have priority. And so I'm thinking this accident it could have been quite possibly caused on the ground by the controller or by the guys in that Coast Guard plane that were getting ready to taxi. They were getting ready to take off to deliver supplies to the earthquake-prone areas, the folks that got hit on Japan's west coast, where it got they're suffering a lot. And so the whole thing is that they were. I'm just wondering if a controller made an error that gave both permission to take off on different runways, right? So you have one. It looks like you have the one coming in that was landing. That looks like they were coming in from a north-south direction, and then you had the Coast Guard. You have the Coast Guard plane that I think had permission to take off. They were going east-west, right? They were getting ready to take off, or they were going west-east. West-east, east-west. They probably were heading in a westerly direction because that's the direction that they need to go. And to have all passengers on that Airbus 350 Japan Airlines, that thing looked like it was, the entire thing looked like it was in flames. But you look on the inside, you look on the inside in the cabin, the people that started taking video. How could you do that? Aren't you kids? I mean, if your plane catches on fire, is the first thing you're going to think about, oh, I better film this. I better get video of this on my iPhone. Is that really the first thing you're going to be thinking about is, where's my camera? Where's my phone? The plane's landing, eclipses this Coast Guard plane that bursts into flames. 5 people die in that Coast Guard plane. It's a sad, sad story. But all passengers on that Airbus A350 were evacuated safely. And I'm not sure if they were, they said some suffered some injuries. I'm not sure if those were major, minor, or what. Nipban is in the house. We could talk about that if you'd like. I mean, it's kind of scary. Always worried about it. Things like that happening. But I will always make time for you. I don't think, listen, it's I that should be interviewing you. I beg your pardon. I'm the guy that should be interviewing you. Yeah, talking about all the things that you left behind in the USA, See how many children you abandoned. Aren't they hammering? No, I know. Listen, I do apologize, every man. I do know that all your kids are grown, or your kids grown, right? Do you have 1 or 2? Don't you have a daughter in Europe? Keeps bugging you for money now that you're doing well, and she keeps extending that graduate school program in Europe someplace. I'm not sure if that's actually true or not, but anyway. Oh my gosh, where do I get this stuff? Yeah, so anyway, let's talk about a couple of things. So who else is here that I failed to mention? I want to catch everybody in the new year if I can. God Repairs, Prissy, Manzanero, Rider Adventure, Pinky, great, Pink. Hey, I had fun, didn't you? Pink, I had fun in the contest thing. Plus, that night I went into your celebration. I had fun there too. But Dan goes to bed early, so I was only able to hang out for an hour or two. But I like the game. What's wrong with that parlor game? People seem to be enjoying themselves. I was. Maybe I'm just easy to please. I just really don't know what it is. All right. But I liked it. It goes fast. You and Van Life. Yeah. Big Z. Big Z has an interesting channel, by the way. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. If I could just get through this chat list. Let's see. Who else is here that I missed? Sir Luke is in the house. Sir Luke, may the force be with you. Sir Luke, all the way from New Zealand or Australia. I can't always remember where Sir Luke is from. Yeah, it's a big difference between New Zealand and Australia. And so I hate making the mistake all the time when I say, oh, here's Sir Luke from, from Cuba. No, that doesn't go over. They're very nationalistic over there, New Zealanders don't generally, and Australians don't like to be confused with each other, So we're going to talk a little bit about that too. Nationalism, no, a global meltdown on the economy. What seems to be like a synchronized meltdown of the economy. It's so strange. It's never happened like this before. I mean, for crying out loud, Asia, in Asia, we usually don't suffer as much as the rest of the world does when they have an economic downturn. And you ask why? Well, they buy everything from us over here, right? They're buying everything, plastic spatulas, those cheap little metal pans, Tupperware, all this stuff is manufactured here. That's why. And so, yeah, you still got work. You get go over to the plant and they make widgets and everything is fine over there. Oh my goodness gracious. Well, I guess I'm behind in the chat as usual. All the expats are leaving the Dumaguete area. It will be empty there by now. If all the expats were, well, it's America East, basically. Actually, if I were a Filipino, I probably would be leaving Dumaguete. But it's getting very expensive to live there because there's more expats. They locate there. Um, they drive the prices of rent. I've heard stories about crazy rents being asked of expats in Dumaguete. I have no plans of going anywhere near the island of Negros. Well, no, I'll go to the island next door to it, right? But I won't go to Negros Oriental. So the whole idea is that as the expats move in, they got money in their pocket to spend. But the guys that are on fixed incomes, they're starting to have a difficult time, according to some of the guys that I know that live there that are on fixed incomes. And so if you're trying to live on $1,200-$1,300 a month, they're struggling down in Dumaguete because they keep raising the price of everything. What's a coffee now at the Ground Round? How much is a coffee at the Ground Zero? I should say the Ground Round. Where did that come from? Do you guys remember that on the East Coast? Do you remember that steakhouse called the Ground Round? And they used to put peanuts on the thing, and then you just peel them and toss the shells on the ground. There's got to be a place like that around here someplace, right? Good morning, Charmaine. Mark is in the house. Mark, how's it going? Do you have any engines to rebuild today? You have any engines to rebuild? I'm just curious. Engineering genius, him and his wife. Engineering geniuses, I should say. Rona Cease is here. Rona, how's it going? Good morning and happy new year. Let's coffee. Exactly. I ran out of speaking of ground coffee, I ran out this morning. I ran out of ground coffee and I had to go to the backup Copico Black. And now I'm drinking water because I keep coughing. They're having all kind of respiratory problems over here. We have a friend who's in the hospital that's got a respiratory issue also right now. We have an expat friend who has been down for a week and a half that I was talking to yesterday that says this thing is absolutely no fun. They have to load you up with all kind of scary antibiotics. A week and a half of downtime is what it turned out to be. Nip Ban, the mysterious man from the East, is hanging in here with us. Lady Me, how you be? Lady Me is like a YouTube superstar. I don't know if you guys know that or not. Lady Me she's got subscribers. She has subscribers. Amy Zam is in the house. Amy Zam, we're going to be talking about spam in a moment. Bayarong De Barbero is here. How are you? Every man says I have $2 and they refuse to have anything to do with me. That is why I'm having a son now. Yes. Yes. That makes perfectly good sense to me. And plus your social security will go up, right? So you asked a question about somebody in here, every man asked a question about what is the maximum that you can receive, right? And so not having the answer something bugged me, and so I keep looking out for it whenever I could find it. So they have this thing called the Family Max rule or whatever it is, the Family Max formula, whatever it is. And so it's a combination of either one person and one daughter one person, one daughter, one son, or a spouse. And so, anyway, to make the long story short, or short story long, it's underneath $2,800 a month. It can't be any higher than that. So I got the maximum. I don't know what the, I don't know how the rest of it works, but so when the baby's born, they will be getting 27 or 28, which is a good thing because, the everything else is collapsing. And it was hard for me to keep up. It's even harder to do it if you're not doing it in English. So anyway, I had a fun time watching. What can I say? Of course, I'm an easy man to please. Dad, she says, what did you? She's thanking me for some. Oh, for supporting my GLS and all your supporters who came and joined the game. Oh, thank you so much for your kind words. We love you, Pink. You know that Pinky. Pinky is the one that, she started. Australian. I'll never. Kiwi. I gotcha. There's a lodge here in Cebu called the Kiwi Inn. Is that the name of it? I've stayed there before. I've stayed there before, but every time I'd come down from my room, everybody would be just like staring at me, like he don't look Australian. It was a Kiwi Lodge in Cebu. I think I don't remember where it was though. That's the whole thing. Was it in the Mango District? I'm not sure. No, that's Eddie's hotel that was over there in the Mango District. God rest his soul. Yes. Yen Irene is here. Mama Gina Vlog is here. Mama Gina. Oh, Anne is here. Anne, how are you? Wow. Look at all these folks that showed up. I bought a lovely Chinese car. I have to protect my unborn son. He will be worth money in the USA or in SSA. That's exactly correct, and so he becomes the most valuable asset. I think YouTube used to be the most valuable asset, but I think it's fallen apart. Because I keep looking, I see. What do you do when you say now? Tim K is gaining speed to his credit. He apparently has learned how to fix things by focusing more on his wife, which I thought he should have been doing from the very beginning when people got tired of him droning. It's the whole fireside chat thing that I got tired of. Where he's doing the selfie by the beach and then he says, "Folks, let's have a talk. Let's have a serious talk about something." This is Tim K, right? Well, anyway, I couldn't help myself. After a while, you just kind of get, you just kind of go, okay, at first I'm listening and I was paying attention. And then I don't know what it was. I don't know if there was a change in his mannerism, the way he was presenting himself. I'm not sure what it was. I lost interest. It wasn't really his content that bugged me. His content, it had something to do with his voice or his appearance or something like that. It was something else. It was something it was something totally different. I think his attitude changed a little bit and it was coming through the camera. His attitude, like I'm the great Tim K, and then he was getting like, folks, if you don't know, Tim K, he's probably got 250,000 or 500,000 hits on some of his videos. And then it just plummets to something like 12, 13K. And now it's starting to go up again. It's starting to go up where he's hitting 30s, 40s, 50s, which I think is really good. But it's not enough for me to go, watch him, to see his wife shopping at Walmart and the like. I've done enough of that, watching my own wife shop at Walmart, or the fantastic Safeway store that we have with the fresh fruits, and then boom, everybody wants to go in there and take a look. Bitter Half is here. Bitter Half, how are you? Happy 2024. Bitter Half is in the house. Anna G is here. Anna G. That sounds like you can make a rap song out of your name. Yeah, out of your channel name. I'm almost sure that I could come up with something. LV is here. LV, LV, LV. You're number one, not number two. Don't ever change. That's LV. It's been a while, I have to admit. It's been several weeks since I've been in LV's channel. It's just simply been that because I've been lazy. No, not in the context of lazy, Larry. I've just been sitting in front of the. You saw the weight. Nobody watched the video. That's right. So it doesn't matter. You saw me get on the scale, right? I'm just sitting in the easy chair. It's such a comfortable chair. I'm just sitting there going through the clicker. Click, click, click. Let's see. Let's get started talking about stupid stuff. Den's is here. Den's vlogs. So let's talk about the first stupid thing, right? So I got an email from somebody. I want to address it. Yeah, Tim K is very, I'm the authority on conservative views and or something. So I sit there and watch him. I go, you had me convinced months ago, but not anymore. I'm not sure why. I think it was the whole, story about his outburst with the locals and stuff like that. I'm not sure what turned me off, but I look at him differently. Maybe he hasn't changed at all, but there's something about it that I just click through the channels. I'd rather watch Ann than watch Tim K any day of the week. So anyway, someone sent me an email. Jerry is here. Jerry at home. Jerry, I call South Texas home. He's home. So anyway, forget all that. I'm going to give you more of the same crap that I usually do, right? I'm going to talk about how the direction we're going to go in 2024. Anyway, all right. So let's start talking about the Google thing. The announcement that they are laying off, or they're getting ready to lay off 30,000 sales ad representatives. So I told you, when you don't have anybody advertising, you don't need 30,000 ad representatives for Google and YouTube. And so what's going to happen is that they're going to be more selective where they place those ads, and they're going to be more targeted. Before, they were just willy-nilly just throwing any ad on anybody's channel that was getting views. Now they can't do it anymore because the ad revenue is starting to tighten up. People just aren't advertising because nobody's buying. And so connected to that is what I see as a coordinated economic slowdown, which is something that has never happened in the history of the world, right? But you see China starting to stockpile grain, and they're starting to stockpile oil. Now, why would they be doing that if they weren't anticipating something is going to happen? And they've just pumped $50 billion into the local economy to see if they can try to stimulate it. And I don't think it's gonna work. And I meant to say on the last stream what I thought was happening with the housing market in the United States. I meant to complete this whole thought. And the thought was basically is that what I think they're going to do is the price of the houses are not going to come down, but the interest rate will. And so this is a trick I think that I haven't seen tried before. But basically what will happen is that the price of houses will continue to climb while interest rates start to go down to underneath 5.5%, let's say, to 6 or 5.5%. Once they get down into that comfort level, right, then the homeowners that already are struggling to pay their mortgage will go tap the equity in their houses because the cost of the house is going up. See, I've been trying to figure this out, and I think I finally have this thing figured out. It took a while, right? I was saying I smell a rat somewhere. What are they trying to do? So they elevate, so the price of the houses go up, not like what happened in 2008, of course. They keep climbing, and they wait for you to tap the equity in the home, and then they crash. And then the price of the house start to come down. And how that would happen by continuing to lower the interest rates. So we're coming into an election year cycle. It makes sense. It makes sense that they would do this trick coming into 2025. So you're going to see this whole thing formulating over the year, over 2024, and then they're going to lay you away so this occurs right at election time or right after election time. And then they leave the next president, whether it be Biden or somebody else, with a headache. And yeah, because now all the banks are going to go in there and foreclose on all these houses because they're going to do the same thing. They're going to take the keys back to the bank and put it in the night drop box with a little thank you note. Thank you for letting me rent your house. Here's are the keys. Except the rude awakening here, in order to make sure they get all the $18 trillion of your asset in their pocket, yes, they will have your ass in their pocket. This is what's going to happen. I think this is prediction for 2024 based on economic fact and demographics. So, and observation, obviously. So what I think will happen is that they'll come after you for the money. The last time they forgave it, right? They didn't come back, and you didn't have to pay taxes and all this other stuff. The whole thing was worked out pretty good, right? They didn't look for you, saying that, hey, you made this commitment on the mortgage, and we want to get paid, and here's the provisions for how this works when you can't afford to make your payments. Of course, that means they'd have to go through a foreclosure process. But I think that instead of letting them get away with turning the keys in and taking the house back, I don't think it's going to work that way. I think they're actually going to start taking you to court, and they're going to say, I want my money back per the agreement, and you're going to end up paying that plus the attorney's fees. That's how I think it's going to shake out. That's pretty scary to think about. But if you're thinking about doing it, that's even worse. That's what I'm saying. If you're thinking about doing it and actually following this script, there's something wrong with your head, your thinking. So anyway, what I meant to say at the beginning is somebody sent me an email and they said basically that, they said you're a minimalist and this, that, and your thing, blah, blah. No, I'm not. Listen, I'm not telling people, I'm not saying go out there and not buy nice things for yourself, big homes, fancy cars, opulent food to eat. I'm not saying don't do any of this stuff. All I'm saying is do it with cash. And so if you've done it with cash, if you've done it with cash and you're not going on your credit card. Remember, people use a credit card and they're trying to sell this to the lovely people of the Philippines. They use a credit card when you can't afford to buy. Here in the Philippines, it's different, right? Here it's based on economic need, and in the U.S., it's based on want. What I want, not what I need. So you're more likely to go to the grocery store and buy groceries on credit than somebody in the United States who's doing actually both. Who'll buy groceries, gas, pay for whatever else they need. Now that's starting to shift. In other words, but before it was based on want, desires, and not on need, the need to eat food. And then now you're seeing they're using the credit card to buy groceries, and that's pretty dangerous. Here, you go to the sari store. If you have a good relationship with your neighbor who owns a store, then they'll front you, but they're not going to front you for very long. If you come back to them and ask them 2 or 3 times to front you some groceries for your family until you get paid, at some point they're going to cut you off and say, no, pay the first invoice off, and then we'll see how it goes. In other words, that's how it works here. It's based on your desire to not starve. And then in the United States, it's just needs based. Let's see. Tim is saying, what? Tim K was always complaining about his stupid behavior and mistakes. It is his stupidity. Nobody cares about it. Yeah, well, you find a lot of times that people come here from the West and they see Michael Savage. I'll never forget Michael Savage, who's still around. I think he still has his radio show, his syndicated radio show, and he writes books. Michael Savage said that when making a comment about Art Bell, who has since passed away, had said something like, "You guys just want to go over to the Philippines so that you could lord over those poor, needy people." And Art Bell sued him for that slander statement, and they ended up settling, but the settlement agreement ended up not being made public. That was part of the agreement. But so I think about that often, when I'm doing something where it could be interpreted as bad behavior by an expat, a Westerner. I start rethinking, that what's motivating me to act that way. And then oftentimes I'll come to the conclusion, because I'm very introspective, I'll come to the conclusion, well, that's just my American upbringing. And then I have to be reminded to cut it out, to not to display that type of behavior, and oftentimes, so that means that your brain, you always have to be on your toes, and the brain has to be working, and you have to think before you open your mouth and say something to somebody. You have to sit there and actually think, what kind of backlash will it have? What kind of backlash is it going to have on me if I utter those words? And then 9 times out of 10, I will stop right in my tracks, and I will completely reverse course, especially if I'm angry at somebody for some reason. If I feel anger emerging, if I feel like I'm about ready to say something horrible, words you can't take them back, right? Once they come out of your mouth. You'd think as an old man I would have learned this lesson, but I still blow it all the time. I'm just human. But I'm getting better at thinking about what's getting ready to exit my mouth before it leaves. And oftentimes when I have a disagreement with someone here in the Philippines, I just smile. I'll just smile and walk away, and I'll say, "Have a nice day," and then go on my way. And then once I get out of earshot of the person, then I'll start cursing. Say, "What stupid MFer. I hate the Philippines," stuff like that. Which I really don't. I'm talking about moments, emotional, moments where you just blurt out spontaneous, stupid stuff, right? And so in a way, I think that Michael Savage is right in that some people may be doing that. A-type personalities who have been married 2 or 3 times before, and then they look upon Asia as being a subservient population, which would be a big mistake if you're thinking that. And they could come over there and dictate, or as Michael Savage put it, lord over the nice people, because what? A smile on their face you take as a sign of weakness or something like that. I don't know, but that's a part of the American upbringing, part of the culture. So I mean, it's wrong, but I think Michael Savage, to a certain degree, I'm not agreeing, of course, 100%. Not 100% of the people are like that. We come over here first because it's an affordable place to live for us, as I think it was Marion Salongo had suggested that in one of the comments. That's the number one reason. But there's certainly plenty of places to go in the world where it's cheaper to live than in the Philippines. The Philippines it's way down the list in terms of the economic benefit to Americans. There are plenty of other places to go. So then what brings people? So you have the economy, cheap living, right? It's the Western cultural influence that people are seeking. It's the soft landing for most expats from the West. But you can find this several places around the world. So why do they come here? You know why they come here. You know why men come here anyway. They're looking for a partner. That's why they come here. So anyway, no, I'm not a hater. I'm not a hater. I'm not a hater. Let's see. Every man says I'm stockpiling adult diapers and earplugs. Yeah, no, Mini Snow is here. Manolin is here. Uh, oh my goodness gracious. So, um, yeah, so someone sent me an email, started talking about that. Well, are you a socialist? Well, to a certain degree, but that's because capitalism has kind of failed us, right? I mean, in a way, I mean, if you look at it, what's going to happen to you if you put a shoe store next to a Walmart? What's going to happen if you were there first and then Walmart decides to move in? In other words, it starts to fail, and I realize that this is I'm talking about, to a certain degree, I'm talking about Marxism. I'm talking about Marxist philosophy or Marxist thought. A.B. Sam basically said that capitalism will fail because the workers will eventually feel they're not treated fairly, and they will revolt against the one percenters. No, I can't picture that ever happening. But let's say that what everybody is saying is true, that AI would be the greatest threat. Well, that it's going to eliminate a lot of people, which is what's happening over at Google, where they're laying off 30,000 employees. And the layoffs just aren't occurring at Google, by the way. They're occurring at Citibank, 10,000, FedEx, who had a miserable Christmas season, UPS, uh, Yellow Freight went out of business and declared bankruptcy. I mean, the whole global economy survives and thrives because of all the junk that Americans are buying, and Westerners. And if they stop buying all of a sudden, which they have, if you're looking at uh, if you're looking at cargo shipments and things like that, they're coming over half empty now. We don't need any more 99-cent spatulas, and 99-cent stores closing locations is also an excellent indicator. But shipping boxes is also an excellent indicator. When you see those drop off, then how can you sit there and tell me um, that we're not experiencing a severe economic downturn? When everybody is doing everything they can do to hunker down, I mean, stockpiling grain and oil and things like that, tapping into oil reserves and the like. Then you have to start thinking about things that could be coming our way. Daddy ashes. Hey, so what? So no, I don't hate. No, the whole thing is, but if you're out there and you live in a mansion and you're driving a Rolls Royce and you're doing all these other things and you're paying the a monthly note on them, that probably would catch my attention. I probably would be a little bit more critical of you, but then I also might think, well, son of a gun, if somebody's willing to give the dude a mansion, if they're willing to give the guy and gal a mansion and a Rolls Royce, and they're living in this in the high rent district, I don't know. I mean, they must have something on the ball, right? It's just that here in the Philippines, they don't do it that way. They don't think about. They don't. They're starting to, because they're importing that part of Western culture, that consumer-driven economic mindset. But housing is really the difference between the folks that live here in the Philippines and the folks that live in the U.S. In my opinion, that's really the big difference. A smile is just a frown turned upside down. Well, that's good to know, because then I'm going to remember that every time somebody pisses me off. By the way, I can't right now. All I have to do is wait, because I think there's going to be a lot of available work here in the Philippines. I mean, a lot of people looking for work in the Philippines, big projects. If it if the Philippines, is going to get involved in any of this stuff, on purpose or by accident, then that means that people will also be out of work here. And that's why I've been telling everybody since the beginning of this channel. You got to get out there and you start growing your own food, building your own house, what you could afford to build, uh, borrow land from your relatives so you can do it. Everybody understands this and this way of life, and so it's all reasonable. It all makes sense. And a lot of you have said to me they won't do it, Dan. I don't know. I have friends that do it. I have friends here in the Philippines, neighbors that grow their own food. They grow pigs in their backyard and stuff. They shouldn't be doing it, but they do it. I mean, they shouldn't be doing it because it's banned in this neighborhood. Cha Ram. So even that is getting a little bit, too Western like, where you can't have chickens in your backyard. Well, you can in Sacramento now. They passed a law or whatever it is, an ordinance saying you can have chickens. You just can't have a rooster. So, no roosters? What the hell? Cha Ram is here. So anyway, let's talk about the spam thing. All right, so let's talk about the onion ring thing. So you guys go in there and you saw my onion ring short video. And that happened, that video. Oh, let me back up. Let's talk about the one before, the plastic bottle. Folks, that idea had been on my mind for a long time. And I just would like to share with you. What did it get? 4.5K in views. I just want to share with you the reason why we decided to do that video. Yeah. Half the time, Minnie thinks that I've done lost my mind, and she is probably correct. Shane is here. Hi, Shane. And that's simply that I would sit there and I would, not this big bottle. Yeah, sometimes I crunch this up. I would start crunching up, the plastic bottle, the small one, sometimes this big one, but mostly it's the small plastic bottle. And I would notice that when I crunched up the bottle, yes, cash is king, Tim. Thanks for that. I believe that with all my heart. And we're going to be talking about cash in a minute. So when I noticed that when I crunch this up, the hair on the back of my neck would stand up. This is where the idea originated. And this has been on my mind for months. I mean, 6 or 8 months I've been thinking about doing this video with Minnie. It's not gonna go very far if Dan is here blowing up the crunched up bottle. I said, so you have all the ASMR and the visual there, right? The visual, yeah. What do I have to spell it out there for you? It's a bottle. It's a bottle. So anyway, then I started playing around with it. So I'd crunch it up and I'd listen to the noise, and then I would blow the bottle back into its original shape. How that happened was I needed to put some liquid in the bottle, not water. I had drunk all the water that was in the bottle. Something came up where I needed to put oil or something in there. And so I looked around. I had no storage container. I see the bottle over there, and I said, I wonder if I could blow this bottle back up. And I blew the bottle back up and poured the oil in it. That's how this idea came to be. And when I did it, I was listening for the sound. I was listening for that paper rustling plastic sound that you get when you're crunching up a piece of plastic or paper. That's where this video came from, and it gets 4.K view. People liked it. What can I say? Minnie, she was like looking at me like, oh man, I know it's over now. I know that you're probably suffering from dementia. You're getting early onset Alzheimer's. Something's going on with you, right? So, but I wasn't wrong, because look at what ended up happening. It got 4.5K views. Now the onion rings. I want to explain how the onion. By the way, nobody is liking it, so it's not. It can't get any algorithm going. You guys aren't liking the video. I don't know why. One or two of you have sent me messages saying you really like this video. Well, here's how this came to be. because there is a story behind every single video, right? Including the weight video, the weight gain video. But anyway, let's talk about this for right now. So we're going to the supermarket. First of all, it's very difficult to find the yellow onions or white onions that are big enough to make onion rings out of. That's a problem here, right? And if you do find them, they're going to be very expensive, which they were. There was something like a 50 pesos each for one big onion that you could make. James is here. Ramil is here that you can make onion rings out of, right? And then, so what I did was I first went and I was looking for, I got the, I started, for the longest time, I've been wanting to eat onion rings, and they don't sell those here. And then they don't know what they are, right? And so I go around and I start looking for the frozen food section, and we got all kinds of stuff. We got French fries, we got calamari in there, we've got tempura, we've got your crinkly fries, we got the regular fries, we got sweet potato fries. They're just packing the frozen food section with all this junk, right, that we all love. Frozen food, don't have to do any work. You just take it, fry it, eat it, enjoy it. And the nuggets, chicken nuggets. You guys saw the chicken nugget video, same story, right? Makes great sounds and has great appeal, visual appeal. So I couldn't find any onion rings. And so I had to go and I said, okay, let me get on my phone. Let me find a good onion ring batter recipe. And then, so once we got all those ingredients together, another not so inexpensive adventure, then we went out and we started looking for the onions. We were able to find the onions, but like I said, they were very, very expensive. And so we fried up those onion rings, and they were absolutely delicious. They were spectacular. They were so good and satisfying, and I love the noise that they make when they were frying. Anyway, the whole thing worked out, except now I'm falling behind in my count. No one's watching that video. Tim says American-sized vegetables are almost impossible to find here. Carrots are about the only vegetable that is big. Yeah, well, let's see, carrots and I think squash. We're doing good on the big squash. It looks like a pumpkin, and cucumber's good. So those are my staples, for vegetables. So the cucumbers, the carrots that you mentioned, squash, and I love eggplant. Oh my gosh, I love the eggplant. If I ever come visiting and you make that eggplant, I love it. All right, so getting on with it. That's where those videos came from. But don't Filipinos eat onion rings? Do I have to wait for the Americans that remember A&W onion rings? I have to wait for them to run into the video by accident or on purpose. All right, so that brings me to another topic. So here's the other topic, right? It's going to get serious pretty soon. So if you're running away before I'm done with this live stream, you're going to miss out on this thing because it's going to get serious. All right. So anyway, let's talk about it. Let's talk about let's see, Dan, are there any Outback restaurants near you? If there is, get a blooming onion. Oh yeah, whenever I run into that, whenever I run into those blooming, no, not blooming onion is where they fry the onion. Anyway, I should learn how to make those actually. But yeah, that's a good idea. I think I have seen an Outback, or I've seen something like the Outback restaurants here in the Philippines. If not Outback themselves, but I think Outback is here. I believe so. So anyway, that's a good idea. So let's talk a little bit about the videos again. So now I'm I'm stuck up. No, not constipated. I'm stuck up a different way because I'm not getting the views out of it. Takes so whenever I put up a video, I'm lucky to get I'm lucky to get 1 hour worth of view out of it for one of the 2-minute videos. And so in the beginning, it seemed like it was going my way, but now there's an obvious pullback of viewers on YouTube. And so on a good day, I used to be able to get maybe 3 to 5 hours out of a 2-minute video. And now I'm only getting one, right? And I'm also getting only one on my live streams. I know you guys don't anticipate where I'm going just yet with this, right? But the short video content is going crazy. And I sort of predicted that it would. Once you dial in, you figure out what people are looking for. Then you just kind of like look around in everyday things that might be happening to you. And then, as I explained how I came up with those two ideas for the bottle and for for the onion rings, well, and for fried chicken, Crispy King. Well, then you plug into that and you keep producing and producing and producing like videos, and then you start getting tremendous amount of views off of those very short 16-second videos. And so I'm getting 10, 12, and 15 hours out of my 16-second videos. So I'm saying, where should I go with this? Where should I go with this YouTube channel? Where should I be going? Because it takes a lot of energy to produce one of the live streams, and also the videos. Even though they're only 2 minutes, it takes some time. But I'm not complaining. Usually these are things going on in my life, and I'm just grabbing snippets of it. And I noticed that when you go on YouTube, that there are people getting great views on YouTube presenting nothing. They're not talking about the history of the Philippines. They're not talking about going to Boracay, showing you what Palawan looks like, going to Alona Beach, and taking videos that where they could have spent days in those locations, and then whittling them down to 20 or 25 minutes. People just don't hang around to watch those. But Des, the reality TV where they have cameras set up in their home and they're just watching everyday life, going and doing the dishes and this and the other thing, they're doing great. So what I mean, people are going in there doing great. They're also doing great when they hear about people's divorces and separations and all this other crap that is going on the internet. Like the recent couple, that Philippine Life just broke up, and what's her name, Brandy or Brenda, or I never watched it, right? I just caught that Our Marriage Is Over. I just caught that video recently where he gets he starts talking about, listen, things didn't work out. They've been married for 3 or 4 years. They were a couple for a couple years longer, and he told the story. Yeah, it's not the real story. I don't think so. We just gravitated apart. We diverged. My ass. You screwed around with some Filipina, and now you're divorced. I'm such a cynic, aren't I? I'm so cynical. She wanted to go this direction, and I wanted to go that direction. Sure you did. I mean, this is another Mel Jean and roaming Hogan story. No. So I tried to pump it up. I came up with a few strategies that they're not failures, but they haven't performed the way that I thought they would. In other words, they just haven't. I come up with the idea, oh, let's get viewership up in the videos. Let me give away, let me do what I do in the live stream, let me give away money to see if I can entice people to come in there and see if their name is in there. That didn't work too well. So we won't be doing that anymore. That's the bad news. We won't be continuing on with that, some of you already noticed. One or two sent me an email saying, "Hey, who won in the last video?" Nobody. I didn't put anybody's name or number in there. And so then I started looking at my analytics, and it's saying I'm doing my live streams at the wrong time of the day. My main audience, they're not from the USA, but yet I want to talk about USA things all the time. I'm only I'm listen, maybe I'm kidding myself, but I'm only talking about things from the USA that I think could impact the Philippines. In other words, it's sort of like a beware of this behavior. The issuing of a credit card when you don't have a job so that you can go buy an 80-inch television set that you may never be able to pay for. Right? I mean, some of you, if you're willing to admit it, you may have done it and you may have regretted it. The sharing of that regret is very, very important, but they don't do that here in the Philippines. They keep it quiet. They don't want to admit that they made a mistake, that things didn't go as well as they thought it was going to go. I'm going to share with you the screw up if I can. That's the kind of person I am. I'll just admit that I made a mistake and it was the wrong thing to do. And so I think I made a mistake and it was the wrong thing to do on the money thing for the video. I think I'm making a mistake now by doing money this way on the live stream, as opposed to doing the buildup that other people, are doing. The buildup to the event, a birthday celebration, a New Year's celebration, a Christmas celebration giveaway. And so I want to go that direction. Oh my gosh, I'll probably lose half of you right now when I say these words. We won't be drawing for a winner today. But I need your help in figuring out how to do this in the future, because the analytics are showing me that I should be at nighttime, not in the morning. It's saying that your audience is at night after the kids get home from school. And then when I go around, I start lurking around on the internet, a lot of Filipinos are doing their live streams in the afternoons and in the evenings. And the majority of their audience, and they have big audiences, are Filipino, right? Let's see. What does Tim say? Tim's saying important stuff here. I don't want to miss it. This is why I won't buy a condo. I won't be around long enough to pay for it. Yes, exactly. And I've talked about this, right? Tim, you're smarter than the average bear. You see, really, that's the number one question. Is it? And when I ask that question of people who have done it, they avoid me like the plague afterwards. In other words, I just ask a simple question. So let's see, you'll be 97 or 98 when you pay off that 30-year mortgage. And then they'll just look at me, and they may actually say the words. They may say, "You're an asshole for saying that," and they turn around and walk away. I never hear from them again. But see, what's wrong with me is I laugh about it inside. I never think, "Oh, you shouldn't have said that to them." Let the fools make whatever error that they want. Don't throw it in their face. I did say it to somebody once who gave me an answer. They gave me they yelled at me, quite frankly, right? If the person may actually be listening, but they yelled at me as though I were a child, and they said, "Well, what about the moving? What about the remodeling and the moving of walls to make it exactly the type of house that you want?" Well, then I was thinking to myself, I didn't answer their question, but I was thinking to myself, well, then when you just build your house from scratch the way you wanted it in the first place, would you put yourself through the trauma of having of having workers in your house tearing down walls and things like that? It would be one thing if you could do it yourself. Minnie and I have skills. She's as good of a carpenter as any carpenter that I've ever seen. I mean, she could hang drywall. I mean, she's 5'0". She could hang drywall, and she could do the taping, and she could do the pasta of the drywall herself. Herself. When we were remodeling our home, I'd come home, one wall would be done. I'm like, holy crap, I thought you said you were going to wait for me till the weekend. And she's just hyper that way. She couldn't stand to look at that wall any more than I could stand to look at it. And so she would be, I'd come in and she'd have that, she'd be doing it up, texturing the wall and, doing all kinds of things, and so anyway, running wire through the attic. Yeah, she scared me a couple of times doing that. Running wire through the attic on a really hot day, you know, you could injure yourself doing that. Right. She did hurt herself a time or two by not waiting because those, you know, you're hanging 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch wall board. They're starting to use wall board here in the Philippines, by the way. I'm sure people in the chat know this, but it's heavy. It's nice to work with, right? Cut with your utility knife, snap a piece off, tape it, pasta it, you're done, right? It's nice to work with. Somebody gets mad, punches a hole through it, no problem. Put your repair piece in there, plaster it, you're all done, right? So anyway, but you're going to have to help me through private message or by leaving a comment in this chat of where it should go. For example, one example I'm using, Larry is doing just fine doing one live stream per week. Larry's doing just fine. And so Larry, I look at his channel, I go, he's doing a live stream once per week. He can go a couple of hours, and I'm leaning that direction, but I'm also leaning towards changing the time. And the giveaway as far as cash, I've explained that I want to divert, that I have to divert some of the money that I've been spending. The budget on the money, believe me, I gave away way. I mean, when it push comes to shove, right? If I told you how much money that I gave away in 2023, some of you in the chat, it's more money than you made in a year, in a year here in the Philippines. And so without going into detail, I know approximately how much money that I gave away in 2023. It can't happen that way, I'm being honest with you, in 2024. And the reason is because some of that money, I mean, we're talking in the thousands of dollars. And so it has to be diverted, some of that, and used for to guard against inflation here in the Philippines, which is happening. The price of rice keeps rising, and so that has a concern. Utilities keep rising. I'm concerned about that, even though I'm not having a difficult time paying those things. I'm anticipating that they're going to continue to rise, and so it with the YouTube counts kind of like being challenging, and also you're looking at the decline in advertising revenue for YouTube. I mean, it makes sense that I would have to also cut back I have to trim my game a little bit. And so I'm only getting an hour out of these live streams in terms of watch hours. And then my short videos are going crazy, and I'm having much more fun doing the short videos. So I enjoy giving you snippets, 2-minute snippets of my life. I enjoy doing that anyway. So I'm sure I'm going to continue to do that, whether you watch it or not. Just going to show you what's going on with Dan today. I'll be posting what's going on with Dan today later on, but it won't have any winners in there for 100 pesos. So people have been very critical of me, saying, "Will you just pay them to watch?" Yes, I'm no different than an advertiser. But now the circumstances have changed a little bit, and I won't be able to continue to do it like that. But what I will do is I will be changing the hours, right? I'll be changing the hours of my live stream, and I may only go back to doing it one time per week. Yeah, right now is the time to travel. Yeah, so that's the other thing, Tim. We're heading out soon. We're heading out because we want to take advantage of the low cost of flying and low cost of traveling and accommodation. It's starting to tank because now we're in the off season. What the thing I'm not looking for is being in Cebu on January 21st. Because I'd like to I'd love to see the Sinulog celebration, but I'm not happy about the idea of having to defend myself against the masses of people that will be there. And so that's the whole thing. I think 12-hour shifts are pretty common in his business, crystals. But anyway, uh, so now what do we do about this? So now what I wanted to do is that, somebody had mentioned, I think it might have been Mike, married to a beautiful woman. I don't think Mike is here right now, but I think Mike had said, wow, if you boosted the amount of the payout to 500 pesos, then you would get a bunch of people in that live stream. So all I'm trying to do is be smart about how I can maximize my time and not take advantage of your time also. And so I think moving forward, I'm moving the live stream to, I don't know what day of the week it's going to be. It probably will be a Sunday. It probably will be a Saturday or a Sunday. And it will be, or a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It will be in the evening time. And I know a lot of you are running live streams at that time. So I'll watch, and I'll flex it a little bit. I may start at 6. Some of you may start at 8, 7 or 8. I can start earlier according to my analytics. And so we're gonna see where it goes. And then I will boost. We're gonna use the same system, the same numbering system, so we don't have to change anything. And the thought is to boost the payout to 500. So instead of so you could see the savings on my end, right? I mean, they're obvious. So I've been giving away, 12 to 1500 peso per week. And so if I back that down to 500, that's $10. That's a 2/3 savings, right? I mean, that's a huge savings. And so I'm going to go ahead and I made the decision to go ahead and do that. And so, but you guys have to go along with me on it. That's the whole thing. Or if you have another suggestion of how I should be doing this, then yeah, I know a lot of you, it's not the money I realize that it's not the money that brings you to this channel, but for some of you, it doesn't hurt. And so, I hope that I'm able to retain all of you, but I'm already losing people. I mean, I can name names. Do you want me to name names? People who I haven't seen in a while. And another thing, that I'm going to connect these dots too. Listen, you guys are beautiful people. You're beautiful people, but I have expectations that quite possibly could be unrealistic. And so I'm used to sending out a lot of support money every month to your channels. No, I'm not talking about my subscriptions. My subscriptions, I'm locked in. They're going to stay exactly the same. I don't plan on making any changes this year in 2024 as far as subscriptions go. I may add a couple of channels, that have been so supportive. They're very deserving of 12 months of membership for 2024. And so I think I'm going to go ahead and add some people, right? But what I'm talking about is other stuff. Like, for example, we're going somebody that has been supportive. Let's say I'm just going to give you an example, not anybody in particular, right? But somebody who has supported me, like, and then I mean, to the death, they supported me. They were just throwing out shares, throwing out likes, throwing out recommendations, things like that. Like some of you in here, like most of you in here are doing, right? You're more conspicuous by your absence in the stream, I would say. And so I'm gonna have to back off supporting those channels that are no longer supporting me. I mean, that's just the way, it's simply the way that life is. You know, the people that are no longer supporting me, that have done a great job in the past, I'm grateful. Especially, they were instrumental in the building of the channel, bringing it a long way really quickly. I'm really, really appreciative. So there's no ill will going on here other than I'll be curtailing where that money goes from now on. You know, I'll be paying more attention to others who have done an equally spectacular job, who are at least as deserving as you were in helping me build the channel to sustain it. In other words, that's only right. That's only fair. It's only fair that I look at it that way. You know, sustainability, sustaining the channel so it continues to get these great views that I've been getting. No, the views have been fine. You know, I'm averaging 730,000, you know, or 730 hours per 28-day period. That's somewhere, yeah, that ain't good, that ain't bad. That's right in the middle. And you know, I'm getting 65,000 views in anyway. I'm not sure this whole thing could collapse on me, because you have to be out there doing stuff, because YouTube will forget that you even exist. They have a very, very short memory. And so it's happened. It's happened already. That people you know, well, Tim, I'm always going to be up for buying you a Bavarian cream donut. You don't have to worry about that. So you know what I'm saying? In other words, it's difficult to talk about. So anyway, that's pretty much the spam of it all. See, I actually had intended about talking about spam, but then I realized that if we get onto that subject, then I won't be able to tell you. I won't be able to integrate all this other stuff into the conversation. Spam, I do want to talk about how much I love spam. How much I love spam on a pizza. I would take spam over on a pizza over pepperoni any time of the day. I'm telling you, I just love spam. But the whole history of spam is so interesting, how it came to be, and particularly what's inside spam, that I feel I want to talk about it someday, but not today, because we've already gone an hour an hour and 15 minutes or so. I want to let you guys off the hook by saying thanks so much for being here, and then giving you that view of what I think future the videos, what the 2-minute snippets, so they'll change. They won't change at all. They're going to be the same, right? But yeah, it's cutting into my donut budget. Exactly. I'm not doing so many donuts these days, though. You know, I'm not doing. Yeah, mostly we're hanging out. I'm hanging out over there at the other place, the Dripwoods, and I'm figuring out what items I can eat on their menu, that I can afford to eat. What they do a good job at. I'm focusing more on that than the crappy stuff. I don't know if I probably talked to you about the crappy stuff before, you know, and I thought, well, you know what? That's very American of you to focus in on the crappy meals that they make, as opposed to the stuff they do a good job on. So now I've changed my attitude, and because I've changed my attitude on that, right? Yeah, it does. You're right, Tim. The spam, but I actually would fry the spam before putting it on the pizza. I have to admit. But you can, but see, you guys ought to find out how spam is made. Spam actually is packaged first, and then it's cooked in the can. And after it's cooked, then the labels get slapped on the can. So we're going to talk more about that in a future live stream, because it's interesting what goes in here, right? But they're big changes, you know, in terms of, you know, the love of spam, and a lot of it has to do with the price. I mean, the price of spam keeps climbing, just like everything else. And when spam first started, right, it was inexpensive alternative to actual beef, actual meat. So when the guys were coming back from the this was 1937 that this was founded. So the guys are coming back from serving it overseas and stuff like that, and they need to look for work and they need support. And then but meat was the thing. They can't afford a steak, but they could afford Spam, and so this is how this company Hormel gets off the ground. And there's good stuff in here, there's good stuff in here. But I'm surprised that people, you know, I'm not surprised. I mean, but uh, there are a lot of Americans that buy this stuff, but a lot of Filipinos can't, and so they actually will buy the make believe Spam here in the Philippines. But the whole thing is that there's wholesome goodness in here. It's not mystery meat, and so there's an incident that occurred where some of the mystery meat Spam ended up in this. It's not Spam. Luncheon meat ended up here in my pantry shelves, right? And so I'm thinking I'm eating Spam, and it turns out to have a completely different flavor to it here in that luncheon meat, And so if you put, so I'm going to call you on it. If you put Spam on the menu in your restaurant and it turns out to be that fake Spam, as soon as I take the first bite of it, I'm going to know the difference, right? I never tried a legit Spam ever. Yeah, Nomi's here. Nomi, how are you? That's because it's too dang expensive. This is expensive for me. This is expensive for us. I'm telling you, it is. I'm telling you, it's so dang expensive. It's amazing they keep this stuff on the shelf. And so I was going to say that anyway, the fake Spam, not the fake Spam, the mystery meat, luncheon meat, whatever it is, it shows up on the shelf, and I go to eat it, and I had to spit it out because I was waiting for the flavor of the Spam, and then I ended up with this stuff. I don't know how to explain it. Anyway, I thought I was going to die. It's not allowed in this house. If we can't afford to buy this, and oftentimes we can't, we have to actually think about it when establishing our budget. I don't even know why this can is unopened sitting here on this desk, but when Man Minnie finds out about it, she's going to be upset with me. She's probably been looking all over the house for that can of Spam. Anyway, we'll have to talk more about it, right? We're on another video. Oh, you have a day off. That's good, Nomi. We'll be in Cebu. We'll be looking you up. We're coming through Cebu soon. All right. So what is the future plan? Let me get you guys out of here. Okay. The future plan for travel is, so I'm eyeing Bohol. I'm eyeing Tagbilaran, and I've been wanting to revisit Alona Beach for the longest time. And so Princess Sarah's here. I don't know when this is going to happen. I don't know. But I'm itchy to get out of here. And so I think it's going to happen soon. So don't be surprised if I end up doing the live stream from Alona Beach and you see me sitting there, Man Minnie sitting there with a fruity umbrella drink in our hand, sitting on a white sandy beach. I'm terrified of January because you got to go through Cebu, and it's crowded in Cebu right now because you have it's the biggest festival practically in all the Philippines, pouring in. All these people are coming in from all over the place into Cebu. We have friends, if I could figure out how to get a hold of them, we have friends from Sacramento that are probably here, or they will be here shortly, that are coming into Cebu. I got to get a hold of them. I haven't seen them in the longest time. And they ran into our daughter in the Walmart the other day in Sacramento and said, "Hey, we're going to be in the Philippines after the 1st." and they gave their American phone number. I'm looking for them on Facebook, see if I could find them so that we can get in touch. Because I definitely want to see them. I haven't seen them in such a long time. But then it dawned on me they're coming in for the festival, and so they I don't know if they're here now, but they will be here by the 21st. Sinulog. I'm not thrilled with the idea of going there, but people tell me that if you can get by without being pickpocketed, you're probably going to have a great time. And if you can find a hotel to stay in, I'll have to look up my connects for that. Because I might be able to go back to where Mamini and I had the apartment, and they might be able to rent us a closet or something. They say it's hard to find accommodation during that festival. So Menge is here. So I want to go. But I'm not looking forward to the crowds of people. A lot of you don't know. I'm okay with talking here because it's like talking one on one. But I get out there in a crowd of people, like packed, and I get nervous. I'm looking around. Where are my things? And then I have things. Even though I've never had a bad experience in a crowd of people, I still worry about it. That's why I don't hang around. That's why in some of Mam's videos, when there are a bunch of people around, I'm shy. That's why you guys haven't. Some of you must have asked, "Where's Dan? Where's Dan? How come Dan's not in their Facebook reels?" Well, that's the reason. The reason is because I have a phobia. No, it's not a phobia of getting sick. I don't know where it comes from. Must have to do when I was a small child. Has to do with something that occurred. No, I was not abused as a small child. Don't make up your own stories as we're going along. I will let you know what the reason is when I discover it. So we're ready to get out of here. Remember to be kind to each other. Take care of yourself. Stay safe and healthy. Plus, always try to have fun. The next time I see you live, it's going to be in a video where we're going to be giving away 500 pesos. If you don't already have a number, private message me. Get my PM from somebody that's here in the chat, and I will add you to the pool so that you'll have a chance to win 500 pesos. We'll be giving it away once per week. And if you guys don't like this, you think that I'm overreacting, underreacting, I should be giving away tons more money, you let me know in the PM. I won't be mad. I will not be offended. You let me know. All right, everybody. Take care. Plus, we have to give Mam Minnie a chance to draw. She loves doing it. She loves having you guys win money, right? Larice, thank you so much. Folks, I gotta go now. We're gonna head over to Dripwoods. I don't even know what's up with that name, but anyway. Listen, I've learned a couple things. Don't say anything about the name, and don't tell them how to make pancakes. It just won't go over very well. All right, you guys take care of yourself. Have a happy new year. God bless. And we will see you on the next one. We're out. 5, 4.